Hello everybody. Hey, today we're going to be disassembling a Thompson gear-driven turf rotor, a number 183. There's a detail of what it looks like. And this happens to be the one that I shown earlier in another video a couple months ago, Thompson 183. So we're going to go ahead and disassemble using some of these tools right here that were either made by Thompson or I had made, especially when I was in the business of working on these things way back when. So let's see if I can get my camera to work here. There we go. Sorry for the shakiness, but I must confess I've already spent a little time trying to disassemble this thing already, so it's a little bit easier to do. So it goes right on into those little notches there. And I do have to use a little help from my pipe vise to hold on to it. But usually these things they've been sitting for a long time. They are pretty hard to get apart. So what we're taking apart here is the upper head assembly. And this is where the water comes out. Then it turns. Get my hands out of the way, like so. And the water goes up through the center here, where my finger was. And this is actually meshed in with a motor or a gear-driven part motor that's inside the head. I'll show you what that looks like here, if I can knock it out. So here's what the motor looks like. It has a little turbine down at the bottom that turns and goes through a whole different ratio of gears to make this thing spin. And this connects right here on the bottom, like that. So when the water comes on, the rotor spins, and then this comes up and does its magic. So we have that. Then further down, we have, it may be hard to see, but there's a port plate inside there. And below that is a screen. Sometimes the screens get plugged up and we have to remove the screen. And in the bottom, this is where I have to have another little tool, which is pretty much about anything, to kind of force it out of there. Sometimes they are a little challenging to get out. There we go. And here's the screen right behind it. Sometimes they get a little bit crushed. So this will sit in there, down at the bottom. Water goes through the screen and then through this port plate. And then this motor will sit basically right on top of it like that. So the port plate, the water goes in and swirls around, catches the turbine, starts turning all the gears inside there, and therefore going up to the top of the head and rotating the head. When I used to rebuild these or repair them back in the field back in the day, I actually had some other specialty tools. It was for cleaning the interior of the body of the head. Now, these are custom made tools that I had back in the day. And this would go in and actually ream the bottom and the inside of the head. I gotta remember to stay in the line of the camera here. Anyways, that'd be locked up in a vise, and you turn this thing and that would scrape all the barnacles down at the bottom to get all the rust out. And we had another one that would get down to the very bottom of the head where the bevel is, well, where the screen would sit. And this is more of a different type of a tool. It's actually shaped to match the bottom. And you go on there and turn it around and scrape all the barnacles and dirt out of there. And you get a little bit of debris out of there in this case. So that would be that tool. These two were custom made for me back in the shop years ago when I was repairing these. And it was made easier to clean and rebuild and do what I had to do. And usually these old 1.25 inch feeds had a different type of screen inside of them, which is right in this orifice here. And it actually looked like this. Let me get it here. There's another 183 head that has the screen, as you can see. And probably this one's never been apart as far as the bottom half of the head is concerned. Usually to get these out, you have to destroy it to get it out, and usually leave a little bit of the bottom inside there. So in doing so, that's when you convert it to the screen that we have here that would go inside the bottom of the head and then eliminate this one. So anyways, that's kind of the way it looks. Again, these were some of the tools. I'm going to move the camera along here. Some of the tools that we have that were made for working on Thompsons, for disassembly and also adjusting out in the field when we had to. And I'm going to turn the page here, and you can see the gear-driven gear-driven case assembly. And that was all the stuff that was needed to make the head turn left to right and so forth. I'm not going to break into that. I'll probably never get it back together again. It takes too much time. But anyways, that's what that looked like. Let's see, what else? There's something else on my mind. Well, anyways, it'll probably come to mind after I'm done. But anyways, I hope you enjoyed this. That's kind of what it all looked like, what it was all about. Taken into a Thompson. And the 186, 187 series, which were the Commanders, were pretty much the same, except for the motors had a plastic impeller on the bottom with a plastic cup that went over the gear housing, and it was you didn't have this brass port plate or this other one, but the other screen rather. But the other screen was actually incorporated into a rubber collar that went onto the plastic port plate. Also, I wanted to show how do I know it's a 173 degrees? Very hard to see here in this picture, but on the motors, here it is. It's right where my thumbnail is. It says 173. Kind of hard to see it, but anyways, that's the degree of the arc of the motor. If it was a different one, it could be 148, it could be 90, 238. There's a lot of sizes and of arcs. So anyways, that would be that. And let's see. And this is the nipple that you would have had. This is an old 1.25 inch nipple, but you can see how the filter would go right on into here. So it would protrude down into the pipe. Just like that. Okay, that's about it. Hope you like this, and we will see you on the next one. Thanks for joining me today.